Let's go to the pollster Frank Luntz, who is standing by at the Merrimack restaurant here in New Hampshire with his focus group, 30 undecided registered Republican New Hampshire voters. Frank?
Well, let's first off, show of hands. How many of you walked in here without a committed candidate? Raise your hands. Virtually everybody. How many of you walked in here supporting Mitt Romney? Raise your hands. How many of you are going to leave here supporting Mitt Romney? What is it? That's overwhelming. Maggie, what is it about Mitt Romney that he did today?
I think that he showed his qualities as an individual, being a very strong leader with very strong moral background.
His statement on pro-life, he came through with conviction where a lot of the other candidates did not.
Who didn't come through with conviction?
Huckabee.
Why not?
He waffled on the first question at least 3, if not 4 times. Couldn't come forth with a truthful answer.
How many of you thought, by the way, that Huckabee, I know I'm getting off, but how many of you thought Huckabee waffled the first response? And did that have an impact on how you felt about him afterward?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right, this is important because people formulate their point of view, their opinions, even within the first 5 minutes of the debate. And if you make a blunder at the beginning, then they got a problem with you at the end. Let's continue. Why is it that you went for Mitt Romney?
Along with some of the other statements that were made, he spoke about China as being a competitor. His corporate leadership and experience, I think, will also benefit our economy.
Chuck?
Romney comes across very clearly and concisely, and I can see him being a viable opponent against a Democratic nominee, and I don't see it coming from Huckabee or one of the other people.
How many of you felt that Huckabee was the weakest of the people that you watched today? Raise your hands. So only a couple of you. Who thought Giuliani was the weakest? 1. Who thought John McCain was the weakest? 2. Who thought Fred Thompson was the weakest? Overwhelming. Now, what's the issue? Vicky and then George. Why was Fred Thompson so weak?
He's just good at acting, and I don't see that he's not touching all of the issues that are out there. I didn't hear anything about health care. I didn't hear anything besides his foreign policy.
He was rambling constantly. I wanted to shake him and wake him up, you know?
Someone else on Fred Thompson. Phil.
He's got a really good thought process, but he's not very effective at communicating.
I think he speaks very well, and he knows what he's talking about, is more specific when he talks about what he's going to do than any of the other candidates.
Did Iowa have an impact on your vote? What happened in Iowa for anybody here? No. It did not. What's the difference between New Hampshire and Iowa?
I think we don't wear our religion on our shoulder. I think that's how Huckabee got the vote in Iowa, and I think New Hampshire realizes that.
I'm not voting for a pastor. I'm voting for a president of this country. And when I look at Huckabee, there is so much religion intertwined in him that he turns me off.
Who thinks Huckabee has too much religion in his presentations? Raise your hand. See, also, again, this is important. You cannot assume that the Iowa electorate and the New Hampshire electorate are the same. Even in the definition of conservative, Iowan conservatives are much more spiritual, much more faith-based than New Hampshire conservatives. Was this a good debate tonight?
Yes.
Do you think that these candidates are going to win tonight? You're not so sure. How many of you think Hillary Clinton's going to be the nominee? How many of you think Barack Obama's going to be the nominee? So you all thinking Obama. Can Mitt Romney, your choice, beat Barack Obama?
Yes. Sure. I think Mitt Romney can beat Barack Obama.
Why?
He comes across on the television very well. He speaks with conviction.
Well, I just believe that Mitt Romney has such presence, and he speaks right off the cuff and is very, very well-versed.
This group of New Hampshire voters is clearly sophisticated. The points that they raised are very issue-oriented. New Hampshire is unique in America in terms of their knowledge and their following the election, and this was a very good night for Mitt Romney.